So, what's in your feelings, bro?
My feelings, right? So I've got this sort of like a philosophical one
There
today.
we go. It's philosophy again, mine.
And it's about a theme that we've sort of explored before. So you know that the old wise saying of if you love someone, you let them go. If you truly love someone, you let them go. And and if they came back to you, then that person really belongs to you, right? I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, is that actually, when you think about it objectively, is that actually is there any truth in that? Because I think it's sort of, when you think about it, it's a little bit of a bullshit term, pardon my French, because it's love, it's true love. Is it not inherently jealousy and possessiveness as well that comes with it? It's like a double-edged sword. You cannot truly passionately love someone and not also feel a little bit possessive for that person, or can you?
See, I disagree, because I think that this idea that love has to be possessive and love has to be
it doesn't have to be
with jealous. But you said genuine love.
Yeah, genuine. But can it not come with? Can it not come with that? Let me rephrase it to make it tougher.
Potentially, but I don't think that is the ideal.
If you truly love someone, would you let that person go?
But I think the premise of that is this idea that when someone fixates on something, is because what that thing means to them is a representation of their own validation.
Have I got you stuff for a second?
It's a representation of their own validation. And the idea of the term, I think, comes from the place where when you have gotten to the place where you've built yourself, you're content in who you are. You're not holding on to something thinking, oh, you must not go, because if you go, that means I'm inferior and I'm not good enough for you. It's that you're to the point where you are a full cup yourself, and the other person is another full cup. It's not like you're half and that person fills you up. So you're holding on to that half and think, oh, if you leave, there's only half of me left. You know, and that's to me why I think it's dangerous, this idea that love comes with possession and jealousy. Because I think if it's ultimately pure love, where you as a person are complete within yourself, you are happy that if that person wants to go, they could go. It doesn't have any reflection on you. But if it's true love and they really love you, they will go and do their own thing and they will come back. But in terms of what that perhaps translates to me is this idea that if you're in a relationship and someone wants to go away somewhere for 6 months because of a project, you know, people get scared and think...
Are you talking about yourself now?
Nah, not in this case. You know, you know, this, you start to there's a lot of people that will fear and say, oh, you know what? If they're away, you know, they're not going to love me as much anymore. They're going to be distracted and all that stuff.
Would you?
I wouldn't. I don't. If it's genuine love, no. Because I think, as they say, you know, as I said earlier, if it's genuine love, their distance shouldn't necessarily, it would be difficult, but that wouldn't diminish my love nor my commitment to that person. And I think this idea that because the narrative that love has to be something that we hold on to so it doesn't leave us, I think is one that creates this idea of overt possessiveness and jealousy within relationships, where people's like, oh, where were you last night? Or you didn't come back to this. Who are you hanging out with? And I just think that's problematic. And this idea that that's described to be genuine love, that you have jealousy and you have possessiveness, I think that's dangerous. Like, no, I'm not about that.
I've got this interesting sort of arc, right? So I believe sort of like that phrase is sort of, if you truly love someone, you'll make them be happy. So if they needed to, you almost have to be selfless, right? So if you really love someone, you have to let them go. So if they were to go, whatever they needed to do to be happy, even if it meant it wasn't tied in with yours, you go and let them be them and let them be happy. But I also think sometimes we seem to see love as this sort of blanket solve it all. But love is not a blanket solve it all, right? Love is it's a thing, right? So, and it goes to, it's sort of like an individual to individual cases. So I know it's a bit extreme, but take a gun for example, right? A gun is a gun. Depending on the individual, case by case, what the outcome is different, right? You could have someone that would have it and put in the drawer and will never use it because it will not be called for it. If you have someone that's mentally a bit unstable or very violent, they will take that same piece and they will use it for something very destructive. So by that, I say that to say, I'm not comparing love to a gun, people. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, love is a feeling. It's a thing, right? So if an individual, like you said, is half full and they're in love, they will react completely differently. If someone is complete and very confident in themselves and they're in love, they'll act completely differently also. So the fact that a person falls in love, it doesn't make them, it only sort of enhances who they are.
Yeah.
So if that person is possessive, it doesn't mean that they don't love the other person, because person A who loved another person was completely unpossessive and said, do you and I'm happy for you. Person B would also truly love someone, but because they are already a bit of a fragile person, the love will translate differently. So that's how I see it. As in, it's almost like a case by case. I could be madly in love with someone and be, just do you, I'll do me, we meet in the middle, we're happy, right? Another person could also be madly in love with another person, but they, from that standpoint, might be half empty already. They need someone to make them whole.
Right.
So when that person falls in love, they're already bringing all of that baggage into the situation,
Right.
and then cause another chaos.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky. So in one part, that phrase could be true, and in another part, that phrase could be untrue. But both of them are genuine love. It's just that it's coming from a very different. One is broken, one isn't.
But that's why we don't preach that the broken love should be.
Why not?
No, we don't preach that version of love
Because
should
it's
be
nice. But we should preach that.
No, we shouldn't. I'm
Sorry.
finished.
I keep cutting it off today.
I said we don't preach that version of love that is based upon half emptiness is a problematic one, because no one should come to a relationship half empty and look for another person to fill them up. That is why there's a lot of problems, and that's why people struggle to let go of other people and always want to hold on to them because they're not full themselves. So we don't preach that people should actually spend more time trying to fill themselves up and be full. So therefore, if that's the case, then that saying will hold true. Well, if you really love someone and you're not scared that that person will find someone better than you, then you let them do what they're doing, knowing that love would always hold true.
Because it should only compliment, isn't it?
Exactly. But because there's a lot of people that come in half empty, a quarter empty.
Expect someone to change them.
Right. So when they find someone that fills up the rest of their deficiencies, they cannot even fathom letting that one go. They can't even fathom that person talking to another person and seeing that person that they're talking to smiling. They're thinking, oh, does he think he's better than me? Does he think, she's nicer than me? Does she smell better than me? All of these insecurities, possessiveness comes up, and that's problematic. So that's why for me, I think that statement holds true when a person is content with themselves. And that's what we should aspire for as a people, as opposed to just jump into something when we are not even complete ourselves.
But also on the devil's advocate standpoint, also as people, are we always selfless? Do you know? Because the whole notion is based on you loving someone so much that you are ultimately selfless, right? To let someone you, from your standpoint, nothing is changed. To let someone that you, from your standpoint, genuinely love go because you want to make them happy, overriding your unhappiness. Is that something that as people that we can also sometimes be a bit selfish? Does that not something that also kind of go against our selfishness a little bit also?
But then the question is, and this is what I track it back to, because if you are complete with yourself, you wouldn't be unhappy that person was. Because it's the question about letting them go. What does that letting go mean? Even in that case,
it's not the completion itself. That's not, because I think that could happen to anyone without even a secure or insecure person. It's not about that person completing you. It's also about, so letting that person go is also, it could be interpreted as not just, oh, okay, they're going away on a trip or something like that. That's no, but you know what? This is getting a bit too much for me. I think you might not be the one.
Right.
Yeah. I think I might go find my happiness elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, you can be two people. You got certain times where people have fought in that situation, come back together and it's worked, right? So you got a reference point. But you've had certain times where that has just been the worst idea in the world. So on that junction, where do you turn? Because you've got two reference points that saying you could fight for it and it could work, or you might have to go. You can go, okay, fair enough. That's what you feel. I understand that, which also goes against our selfishness sometimes as well, especially if one party is still in that zone.
Yeah, but the thing is, and this is what I'm going to come back to, is the fact that for genuine love to be genuine love, it has to be completely reciprocal. Well, in that, I'm talking about if someone wants to go, that's not reciprocal. Let them go.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to force them to love you consistently if they want to go?
But that's being very objective, and that's being you who is very strong-willed in the way you think.
That's what I'm saying. People should feel that way, because you should not try and trap someone into loving you if they feel like they want to go. Let them go. Your happiness should not be predicated on somebody else.
True, in principle, it makes a lot of sense on paper, and you've practiced it. But like I keep saying, it goes on character to character to character. There's certain character types that they might be a little bit more vulnerable when they are in love, right? So that character type,
we should all be vulnerable when we're in love.
Yeah. So, but what happens when you are still in that same space, even though it's not reciprocal, it doesn't necessarily mean that because it stops coming from the other side, yours is going to dry up at the same time.
No, of course not.
So it's very, very tough.
It's tough, yes.
Some have the ability of overriding that toughness, because we're not always saying we're macho, but some could have the ability to override that toughness and go and make that tough decision, as you say, made that executive decision. Okay, fair enough. This is where you are. I'm still here, but I understand you're not here no more, right? So I understand that you want to go find your happiness somewhere. I'm in that space. I'm that kind of character that I can understand that, but not everyone is built that way. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that person actually has a sick, twisted heart or love, but it's just that their character type with love makes them very vulnerable to that point where they don't even see that.
So what would they do in that situation?
Maybe
do what?
What you call it? Keep fighting for it.
But then that's why,
because that selfishness kicks in with it as well.
But that's why.
But you cannot say it's not love, though.
No, but it might not be. It's not
that's
about.
Thing.
But I'm not saying it's not.
You
love,
might be able to say that, but in my mind, I'm thinking that could still be love.
The thing is, it might even be love. But the point is that healthy?
That is the point,
right? Because it's not about.
Are you thinking whether it's healthy or not?
We can love anyone, but the fact that love doesn't make the license. It doesn't give you the license that is good,
but it can make it illogical at times also.
Of course it can. But the point is,
but
what I'm saying is, if that person still keeps trying to fight for something after the other person has identified they don't want to be with them, that's problematic.
That is problematic.
So that's what I'm saying. So they should just let that person go.
But it's not as easy as the phrase says.
But but of course it's not as easy as the phrase says. But that is a utopian ideal of where I guess majority of us hope to be at. Where if you're in a situation like that, and then one person decides that they don't love you anymore, of course it's going to be hard. Of course it's going to be difficult. Of course it's going to be painful. And of course we're going to cry. But the point is, or some of us won't. Who knows? But the point is...
Would you cry?
I will. I did.
Have you cried?
Imagine, have you cried? Yes.
Really? No, I don't mean have you cried in your life. Have you cried over a girl?
Yes, I was in a long-term relationship.
You artistic type,
I was in a long-term relationship for about 3.5, 4 years, and when we broke up, I definitely cried for a long time.
You did wild out after that, though. I remember.
Wild out? Wait, what are we talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Now I know why.
Anyways, so even in those moments, you could still identify that. That doesn't make you any less of a person. In some cases, it's not because...
That's because you got such a strong character, though.
I mean, of course, but that's what we all need to... I wasn't born with a strong character.
Yeah, fair
I had to build that. And that's because I realized that that's the only way where you can have true, genuine self-love. When it completely comes from a place where you are complete without anyone else. And then the other person just completes what they have and they bring that to the table, and there's two complete people that are just coexisting.
complementing.
Not when you become a crutch for somebody else because they can't do anything else, they can't imagine living without you. Of course, when you're in love, you get to the point where you feel like you can't live without the other person.
So it's that thing as well. It's a very interesting one.
It is really interesting, but I just think we need to, as a people, strive towards filling up our own cup. What that looks like is doing things that you love every day, doing things that make you completely whole, that's not dependent on another person.
So technically you have a reference point.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that can never go to a restaurant and eat by themselves. I know a lot of people that can
to be
never
fair,
go.
I couldn't.
Right. But
I wouldn't enjoy it.
And that's really something for us to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle with that too.
Yeah,
but I still try and do it
Yeah.
because I realize that you need to be complete as a person.
Well, for me, that's not even like a relationship thing. For me, it's a social thing.
Yeah, but it still ties into everything because then that means if you really wanted to eat something and a friend of yours didn't want to eat it or your partner didn't want to eat it and therefore you're not going to go there and eat it.
Nah, just buy it and take it home.
Yeah, but then the experience of actually just sitting down in a place that you might like the way the restaurant looks.
Nah,
or
I tend to associate certain things with as a communal thing. So it's not. I don't go to a restaurant because I love the ambience of the restaurant. I go to a restaurant because I love the food.
But I know a lot of people that love certain things. Like they love the ambience of something and they would never do it because another person. I know a lot of women that love to travel, but they wouldn't go anywhere because they don't want to travel by themselves. And those are things that then they have a partner who also loves traveling and therefore they start doing all these things and he breaks up with them and they think, I can't travel anymore. All of these things. And it becomes problematic. Whereas if you have built yourself to the point where you just do things that you love that completes who you are, irrespective of somebody else, that other person is not a crutch for you anymore. Of course, you would love doing that with that person because they are someone special to you, but that's not the complete hinge on why you do those things, and that's the problem of trying to disassociate from, making other people our crutches and attributing that to what love is. Without actually working on completing ourselves first.
You do have a very good point, which is very, very. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah,
but to build yourself to a whole cup, we keep using this cup.
It is there, so
it's a beautiful thing. So if you build yourself to a whole cup, the whole point is not the fact that you go through a vulnerable stage. The whole point is the fact that you need to have a reference point to come back to, right? So if you build yourself into a whole cup, and you get into a situation where you are vulnerable, you still have a whole cup reference point of coming back to. So if you're someone that, like you said, you've grown to be able to do things by yourself, love yourself, and you go into a situation where you love someone intensely, even if it's intensely, and you guys broke up, you'll feel very, very sad. You'll be as miserable as everyone else. But the good thing is you have a whole cup reference point to coming back to. So rather than going to a dark place, you would have that experience of, you know what? I'm a person that used to, do all of these things by myself. I enjoy my own company. Be a healthy-ish kind of person. So you would have that point of reference, do you know what I mean? Whilst if you were sort of half empty, hoping for someone to compliment and get you whole, when that person leaves, you've got nothing else to come back to.
Exactly.
You've only got that half-empty space to come back into.
Exactly.
So which makes you even more vulnerable.
Exactly, and you feel like you're starting again because you still have a half and you're still looking for someone to fill up the another half.
That's why sometimes you give people that are very serial
relationship goers.
Where it's like, as soon as they break up with someone,
they have to find
they're
another
looking for the next
really
person.
quickly. Absolutely.
Because they can't stand the thought of being by themselves. But sometimes you need that refresh button of cleaning yourself and getting back to your alcohol, getting back to your center.
Clear the cache.
That's it. So once you're there, then you're not in a great place to look out and see what's out there.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a very good one.
So I guess the way we're going to end that is...
If you know, you know, baby.
Just love yourself first. And then...
Self-love.
And then
however you want to see
it's like a magnet. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Like when you love yourself, it's a magnet.
Positive attracts positive.
Exactly.
It's as simple as.
Everybody's just gonna want to be with that because when anyone sees a complete human being that seems completely content in who they are, it just draws people in.
Yeah,
like
energy is a beautiful thing.
Exactly, and that's it. So that's where we're gonna drop it at.
We good to go?